Hi loves, welcome back to the Coco Swatches YouTube channel. My name is Ofune and I am the face behind some of the swatches you might be seeing on your social media feeds. Today we're going to be talking about a new concealer, one of the latest concealers to hit Sephora from Miss Pat McGrath, or Auntie Pat as a lot of us like to call her. She is without a doubt one of the most respected women in the makeup industry, and she is a Black woman. Hello Black History Month. So we are so happy to see it. I was so excited to see these concealers launch. So I picked up the concealer along with the powder that comes with it. It is called the Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder. So the powders she came out with previously, I think are for finishing the face. These are specifically for under eye, and obviously concealer is for under eye as well. So in this video, I'll be testing out the concealer and the powder together and giving you my thoughts on it. So if you are interested in this concealer and want to find out more, stay tuned and keep on watching. So I'm starting off with my face already prepped and primed, and I'm just dotting the Pat McGrath foundation in the shade Deep 32 all over my face. I actually did a new technique today with my prep that I learned from makeup artist named Jordan Liberty. I actually applied powder, then applied setting spray, and then applied my primer before applying foundation. And then I also did a little color correcting. So that's what my face looked like before I applied this primer. And I am just blending it out with my brush. I believe this one is from Morphe. So that is the finished application of the foundation. Let's move on to what y'all are here for, the concealer. So this is the new Pat McGrath concealer in the shade MD28, and that's a little doe foot right there, just so y'all can see how the packaging looks like. So I'm applying it under my eye in the places I would normally apply. I like to start a little bit under the eye just so that I can blend upwards. So there's not too much product right under the eye, so I don't crease too much. So yeah, just applying under the eye. I love this shade because it's the perfect shade to kind of brighten and lift for my complexion. And I'm applying a little bit to my forehead. Y'all always say I don't apply product to my forehead. I do not have a lot of forehead to apply product to, but I am applying some product there. Hopefully it doesn't take over my entire forehead. But yeah, so I'm gonna wait a little bit and just let this dry down a little bit so that it can increase the coverage, and then I'm going to start blending it out. So I'm using the new sponges. These are from Dose of Colors. Dose of Colors. I love their sponges. This is like one specifically made for like sculpting and blending out under eye, so it has like, you know, a unique shape. So I'm blending out this concealer. It's blending out beautifully, as you can probably tell on camera. It is just, I mean, you can see the smirk in my face. I'm very satisfied with my results. It's just blending in seamlessly, and it is a great shade, and it's giving me coverage, and it's giving me blur, it's giving me perfection. It's just giving me everything you want in a concealer. So that's it blended, and that is it unblended. And so I'm going to go ahead and blend out the rest of my face so y'all can see what it looks like. But yeah, so far so good on this concealer. I did want to add a teensy bit of extra coverage just right there in the inner corner, just to make sure everything looks even. So I went ahead and did that. Just applied like two little swipes on both sides, blended that out. And this is the finished application of the concealer. It's looking pretty good in my opinion, pretty pleased. So next we're gonna get into the powder that comes in this collection. This is in the shade Deep. I believe it comes in 3 different shades. So this is the darkest shade that's available. And so it's in this like baked formula. So the collection comes with a brush. So I wanted to use a brush, at least try a brush. I don't normally apply with the brush. This is a concealer brush from Smashbox. I'm just going ahead and kind of swirling around. Like I said, I don't usually use a brush. I'm not sure if this technique is the right technique, but I just felt like I should try to like kind of swirl and blend it under the eye with like kind of light swiping motions. This powder, as you can probably kind of tell, has a lot of kick up, kick back, kick up. I don't know what the right phrase is, but you guys kind of understand what I'm trying to say. Like it it has a lot of fallout, I guess would be the equivalent of like if you're using eyeshadow. Yeah, hopefully you guys can tell what I'm trying to say. It's not a bad thing, but it's just something to be aware of. And it probably is also due to the fact that I'm probably applying way more than you're probably supposed to, or probably is meant to, but I was trying to see how much coverage I could get with the brush. But that is a finished application. It looks super natural, just makes everything come together. It just kind of just creates this flawless effect. But I wanted to try my normal technique, which is using a sponge. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pat the sponge into the powder and then press that under my eye. This is kind of what I normally do, and see what I would get. And to my satisfaction, it looks amazing. It kind of gives you a little bit more coverage, but still blends into the concealer flawlessly. You get a little bit less kick up or kickback this way. So just an FYI, but I still think that you can use a brush. You just can't use as much product. So if you want kind of more coverage or more powder, don't put yourself in the eye like I did. But if you want coverage or more powder, you can use a sponge. So that is the finished application. I did notice that the side that I applied with the brush had a little bit less creasing than the side that I applied with the sponge. I don't know if this is just my eyes or it is the application, but that is something to note. It actually blended in better with the brush than it did with the sponge, which is probably why it comes with a brush. But yeah, just something to note. So y'all just saw me apply the concealer in the shade MD28 and the under eye powder in Deep. And this is my finished look. So let's talk about the concealer first. The concealer has a super creamy texture to it. It was super easy to apply and you didn't really need a lot. So I typically go for a shade that's kind of orangey in tone, orangey to yellow, because I like a shade that kind of color corrects and lifts at the same time. So it's exactly what this shade did. It was super creamy, super easy to apply. Even after I let it kind of sit on the face for about a minute or two just to increase the coverage, it was still easy to blend out with my sponge. Coverage wise, like I said, you really didn't need a lot. I think you can easily build coverage with this concealer. And I picked a shade, like I said, lifts and brightens at the same time, but it's not like extremely bright. I feel like this is a great shade for like a more, I don't want to say natural, because obviously this doesn't look very natural. Basically what I'm trying to say is I could actually go for a shade that's a couple shades lighter to give even more of a brightened and lifted effect, but I really like what this shade does for me, and it's probably a shade that I'll get more use out of. So let's move on to the powders. The powders are made specifically for under eye, and you can definitely see why. It's so alluring and beautiful under the eye. In the demo, I use both a brush, because I think the collection comes with a brush, so I kind of wanted to use what she would use just to see how that looks. So this side is the brush side. It is very natural, very kind of runway-esque. It is not something that's like bam in your face, but it does give you that blurring effect and it blends everything together. I applied this side with a sponge, and you're definitely going to get more of that, more coverage, more of that lifted look you would typically get from like a setting like baking powder. Like I didn't bake it, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like I think with the sponge too, you just get more product under the eye. So definitely gave me more of what I'm looking for. The shade Deep is the darkest shade that they have. I was kind of scared to get the medium shade because I wasn't sure if it's going to be too light. I felt like this shade is a good shade, and I feel like it would look really good also on top of any lighter concealer, so that's definitely something I'm going to try. It does have kind of, I'll get a little bit closer, like a satiny finish, so it's not matte. But it's, I don't know how to describe it. Hopefully it's coming across on camera, but it's just a really like beautiful kind of like more natural finish powder, which is very pat, because I mean she does makeup for a lot of editorial looks and runway, so you don't want something that's like super kind of matte and like something that looks like it's like stuck on the face. This is something that looks like it moves with the face, it's blurring, and overall I'm just really impressed by these two products, especially the way that they work together. I definitely see myself using them. I definitely want to try different really want to try different techniques out with them, in terms of I might go up and pick I might go out and pick up a lighter shade of the concealer. I definitely want to see how this powder performs maybe on top of other concealers, and also maybe on top of, like, if I were to use a more mattifying powder and then applying this on top, how would that look? I do have combination to oily skin, so I will see how this kind of holds up throughout the day. But so far, I just really like how my face came together today. I'm really impressed by this concealer. This is actually one of this, how do I say this? This concealer, the price point for this concealer is actually amongst one of the lower tiers in her price line. So I wouldn't say it's affordable, but if you have never bought a Pat McGrath product before, this one is along the lines of something that you might be more likely to be able to afford. We love anti-Pat, it's worth every dime, but just saying in terms of the price, this one, I think this concealer is about $30, which is pretty comparable to most concealers on the market. So yeah, definitely think it's worth the coin. That's pretty much all I have to say. I don't think I've actually ever done a dedicated concealer review, but I was just so excited about this concealer. I'm excited about everything Pat McGrath does, and I wanted to review, especially the powder too, because it was specifically for under eye. I wanted to try them together, so this is it. If you have any other questions, if I forgot to mention anything, please make sure to leave a comment down below. I'm happy to answer your questions. I did take swatches in the store. They're not obviously as good as something I could do here in my studio, but in the lighting in Sephora is terrible, but you know, we gotta do what we gotta do. So I'll pop those on the screen somewhere right about now. So it's only been about like 30 minutes since I filmed the footage, but I'm just gonna insert this little clip because this powder is fire. Like, I don't think I conveyed my excitement properly in the footage, but like as time is passing, I'm just looking at my face like, wow, like this is probably the most blurred my face has ever looked, ever. And yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, maybe it's not coming through, but yeah, this is fire. I'm gonna put this somewhere in the video just so y'all know, in case you can't tell, I'm excited, and I will definitely be having this in my everyday makeup stash, for real. Like, wow. This is iPhone footage, by the way, on my phone. Inside, outside, natural lighting. See if I can get in the sun. Like, look at the material. So hopefully that is able to help some of you trying to figure out what shade you want to purchase. Yeah, that is all I kind of have for y'all today. Hopefully you enjoyed this little quick demo review. Again, if you have any other questions, leave them down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Don't forget to like this video if you were feeling it, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more cool content. All right, thanks so much again, and I will see you in the next one.